So per usual, these games are trickling out. Ravens, Chiefs to open it up. Talk to Isaiah Likely about that. We'll break that down. I'm staring at a basket of ping pong balls and two of my intrepid producers ready to just pelt me. Why do you? I don't want to know. What I do know is that we have Drew Bledsoe on the show. Why is this happening right now?
Get to the credits.
We'll break down the AFC East, Lachina Robinson, Caitlin Clark's debut. Got so many questions to ask her. And not the debut, but a real show for y'all, a real treat to kick off the week. Jordan King lights me up about things that are cool that I know nothing about. Schedule news incoming. It is schedule week. That means there are going to be things trickling out, of course. I think every network's going to announce their big game. We know we got 2 games on Netflix this year. Christmas, amazing. But Ravens-Chiefs, as expected, will be this year's kickoff game in Arrowhead. Could it have been anything else? No. I think there's a lot of of course it was this game. There wasn't a better choice on the schedule than this game, the AFC Championship rematch. Both teams are fresh. Both are healthy. We got Travis Kelce in Paris. He's going to have to get back in time. And I know the Ravens, they're going to be fired up because Isaiah Likely could not have answered this question better last week. I'm embraced with the possibility of taking on the Chiefs, of course, at some point during the season, but maybe even on the ring ceremony day. But, either way, this opening game is Super Bowl banner raising time. Here's what he had to say. What does that do to guys like you and Lamar if it was that game? Is that a good thing? Should I be rooting for that if I'm a Ravens fan?
I mean, last time they had us on the underdogs, we was playing San Fran. And you seen what happened when everybody talks about us, like how we ain't ready for the smoke, how everybody hoopla, hipla. I mean, we going to come 10 toes ready for everything, every time.
Okay. This is great. Hoopla Hipla is the greatest thing I've ever heard. Hoopla Hipla. This is going to be insane. The full schedule, by the way, released live on NFL Network this Wednesday night. Look at us doing NFL Network promos. This is amazing. 8 p.m. Eastern. We're playing well with the big guys in the corner offices. I'm loving this. Can't wait to see that. The NFL Network, NFL Media does such an excellent job. But I do want to shout out the social teams. Those are the real hard workers, the real grinders. These are people tasked with nuking each other. 32 teams at war with one another to stand out, to sort of, they have all the agency to do whatever they want, and they crush it, and they all have amazing ideas. I've heard of a couple of them. They're all cooking. They're in the air fryer, trying to get it done, and I don't know when they find out what their schedule is, so they can actually piece it together. I think it might be like an elves in the North Pole situation. They're working all night to whip something out. So those are always so exciting. Congrats to the social media teams, and we expect big things from all 32 of you, so excited about that. Now, I've gotten through free agency. We've got lots going on here. Drew Bledsoe is on the show. He's I don't even know. He's living his best life, I feel like. He looks good. He's always got wine in his hand. I feel like we should be drinking some of his Bledsoe family wine here on the program. Excited to talk to him. I feel like he's talked a lot about the roast. I want to talk to him about some football. I want to talk to him about, who would be roasting him, that Jets guy who, hurt him back in the day. But I want to ask him about Drake Maye. There's some comps flying around about him. A guy he played with, of course, helping coach up Drake Maye, really involved. So we're going to talk about all of that. But let's get into the AFC East because these rosters are taking shape, right? But there's some lingering questions. We did this segment last offseason. It's officially offseason mode. So let's go division by division every day, and we're going to address the biggest unanswered questions that I got for each team. Guys, hit us up at Up and Adam Show. Let's start with, in this division, pretty big changes. Where should we start? Let's scroll as we look at FanDuel Sportsbook. The reigning champion Bills are still the favorites at plus 160. Isn't a whole lot of separation between them, Buffalo. Let's see. Buffalo, Miami, and the Jets at the top. Pats, massive under. I love the Pats here. Massive underdogs at plus 2,400. That's so stupid to round things out. But we're going to get into the Bills here. And speaking of Bills, I have to say congratulations to Billy Joel, guys.
Billy Joel? Get to the question, Kay. What, Uptown Girl? Come on, Piano Man.
Girl. Billy Joel celebrate. What's so funny? If you look, this is okay. This is Brian. Brian is, Eric is like this. Randy Johnson over here killing birds in his path. Brian, wonderful, loving dad that he is, underhanding underhanding to me, like maybe it'll land on Kay in her lap. Like this is the difference between
Start the fire, ask the question,
frickin' frack
Billy
over
Joel.
here. He celebrated his 75th birthday this week. A happy birthday. Thank you very much, Billy Joel. Okay, my question for the Bills. Enough. The question for the Bills, the unanswered one, and Brian's a Bills fan. Have they done enough to support Josh Allen? Well, leaning in the no direction for me. They trade Stephon Diggs. They lose Gabe Davis in free agency, guy who wanted nothing but to be the number one in this receiving room. And all eyes are on said room. There isn't an established number one in the group. Brandon Beane's did a pretty good job acquiring talent, right? He spent a second rounder on who's a star, Keon Coleman. All right, we love him, but is he going to be the boss on the field? He went out and got some solid vets too. Curtis Samuel, speedster still, I think. Mac Hollins, Chase Claypool. Never quite lived up to his talent, right? They grabbed him in free agency. Then, of course, they've got Khalil Shakir, the guy whose name was trending when the Red Wedding happened. And he was a top receiver when Brady took over as the offensive coordinator just last year. This isn't an eye-popping group on paper, but they have Josh Allen throwing them the ball. And you got to factor in, friend of the show, Dalton Kincaid, and he's going to be used. James Cook, this was the real game changer, right? Brady came in and switched up the play calling. If you look at this, under Ken Dorsey, the Bills, middle of the pack in rushing. I bitched about it literally every day on this very program. And they were almost 60% pass. Under Brady, the Bills led the league in rushing attempts per game. They were actually the heaviest run team in the league when he took over. They really leaned on James Cook and Josh to carry the load, and it was working. The Bills were 5-5 under Dorsey. They finished 7-2 with Brady's approach, which is balanced and works better. So while the Bills' offense might look a little different than we've gotten used to in the past, I do think we're going to see continued success, even if that receiver group can't sniff what Diggs did as a true number one. Maybe it ends up being a better situation. All right, if you guys have questions about the Bills, we'll have Drew Bledsoe actually on the show. So it's kind of funny because it's like I'm so for them running in Buffalo, and then I look at Justin Herbert and the Chargers, and I'm such a hypocrite because I'm like, you're going to run? Roman, you're going to balance this attack with this thing? I don't want to see it because they got Justin, who's got the arm. Josh Allen has a similar skill set, but it's just not the way you win games and get far. I believe in Brady. I don't know what to make of Greg Roman. Just want to put that out there. Okay, we're going to hop back into the AFC East and talk Miami Dolphins. So we're going to stay on the East Coast. And I can't think about Miami without thinking Pitbull. Who wrote this?
Fireball!
Oh, my God. Who wrote this?
What's the question?
By the way, oh, my God.
Let's get to it.
Apparently, Pitbull had 4. I will fight back, you guys.
Hey!
Who put this here? Oh, God. Boom! I hit the monitor. There we go. Okay, Kevin's going to love that. Okay, no, we're not talking about Pitbull. The question is about Miami and this Dolphins team. It's not about the offense. They're fine, they're good, whatever. What's the defense going to look like, people? I don't think any unit in the entire NFL has undergone as much change as what's happened in Miami. The Dolphins, they lose Vic Fangio, who I love, and over 50% of the defensive snaps from a year ago, Christian Wilkins, Xavier Howard, they're gone. They add star power. They get Poyer. They get Chop Robinson out of Penn State, Jordan Brooks from Seattle. The Dolphins will get back pass rushers Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb. I mean, when he left last year, things really changed. Our astronaut friend, they suffered those season-ending injuries last year. We know the offense. It's going to be explosive. We don't know what the defense is. That's the question. And there's Anthony Weaver, what are you all about? That's their new DC. We know he's an attacking, aggressive son of a. We know that because that's the kind of defense they have in Baltimore. Is this the same? Does it just carry over? As we know, offense can only take you so far, and I think the defense is going to be what determines how far this Dolphin squad can go. They're excited, this fan base. They're rearing to get some damage done. You've got like, what does Rodgers look like as we flip over to the Jets here? But, I mean, do you guys see the video of the jet that had to make...
Oh, come on, the jet! Into the question.
An airplane show.
All right, Sully Sullenberger.
He just said it's not an airplane show. We've officially jumped the shark. Eric, you're the comedian. Brian's killing you. How does that feel? Brian is killing you.
Dad jokes.
Uptown girl! Crap! Like, what? He's killing you with the jokes.
He's a miracle on the Hudson.
Oh, my God. Okay, the actual question for the Jets is, are they done adding weapons around Aaron Rodgers? They've had a busy old offseason, haven't they? They added 4 new pieces to the O-line. Aaron Rodgers smoking cigars at the Derby. He's fine. They get third-rounder Malachi Corley as a receiver. Not a bad haul. They did their thing. Brees, Garrett Wilson, still there. They didn't move up to snag one of the big 3 receivers. It kind of makes me wonder, are we done? Are we good? Is this it? Is this what we're, this is as much of a, this is our shot as I think that there is. I'm not saying Aaron can't play till as long as he freaking wants to. I don't know how long he wants to play. But this seems as windowy as it gets. Okay, this is a greenhouse of an NFL situation here. They've got, it's all that they see is the window, and it is, I think. So they do have, the reason I'm thinking this is they have the dough. They've got cap space. They can move a couple decimals around. They can hide some money under the mattress, make things happen. They got money. They have assets in next year's draft, too. And they have a, when's Aaron turning 40? When's his birthday?
He's 40 now.
He's 40 now. Mm-hmm. Happy belated birthday. 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles injury. Like, window is now. I think if I'm Aaron, I'm like, all in. All the chips, pull it like, this is like one of those where like the person's at the table taking their earrings off and putting it in, like the diamonds, the whatever, like taking the gold out of their teeth. Like, put it all in and make a run at this thing. And I don't really know what that means, but I'd like to see it happen, yeah. And there's some, I think they add somebody else. And I think it's a blockbuster-y ad. That's what I think. Okay, let's keep going to more questions here. Who should we go to next? Who do we leave off here? Patriots? Okay, finally, New England Patriots. Okay. I don't feel bad for New England because they are being so undervalued. But I do feel bad because we're supposed to get a glimpse of, what the hell are you doing?
The Northern Lights.
I will swear and get us.
Get to the question.
Who wrote these? Did you write these, Eric?
No.
These Northern Lights prompts?
That's Hammer.
Hammer decided. What happened with the Northern Lights? Let's actually stop down and talk about that. What was that?
Great, now we're talking meteorology.
Yeah, well, we're an airplane show. We're a wine show, as we'll see with Drew Bledsoe. It's my show. Okay. Oh, God, that one hurt. God. That hit me right in the Botox. Jesus. What did you just say in my ear, Richard? That Drew's listening to this? Hopefully not. Oh, God. Okay. For the Patriots, my question is not about the Northern Lights. It is about. By the way, I just want to say this about the. No, we'll talk about it in the break. My question for the Patriots is: can this defense be good enough to keep them in the mix? Kind of the same thing. It's going to be very formative. There's too many questions here, too many whatever. But if I'm going to poke at something, it's not going to be Drake Maye because I'm having patience. I'm a smart New England fan, and I'm like, we're going to give Drake Maye some time here. He doesn't exactly have the best weaponry in the business here, but expectations are so low that I'm in on them. I'm going to be rooting for them all year. I just know it already by looking at the odds. Plus 2,400 is stupid. We're sleeping on the defense, though. The Patriots finished with the 7th best total D in the NFL last year, and that's really impressive when you consider that their best player, Defensive Player of the Year candidate Matthew Judon, played in just 4 games before he got hurt with that arm. First-round corner Christian Gonzalez, I mean, Darius Butler could not have sung his praises more all season. He got shut down 4 games in. He was looking like a star before he got hurt. So both of those guys are back. We got my boy Kyle Duggar, who I love, small school love, we love, and Christian Barmore and company, okay? If New England gets the run game going, it kind of hinders on Ramondre, honestly. If they can do that and the defense can stay healthy, which they couldn't, the defense plays up to the potential, they can do some damage here. I'm not going to write off the Pats here. I don't think they finish. If all those things I say are true on the defense, they are not going to finish last in the division. Even if Drake Maye, well, I don't know. That division's pretty freaking good. Let me think about that. Drake Maye, can you keep them out of the bottom of the division? Is that the question, the expectation? He's got to get the pass game going. Who's he throwing to? I don't know. We got to dig into these receivers. Drew Bledsoe, the great Drew Bledsoe. I mean, do you have some honey? Do you have some salt water? You've been on every talk show doing your thing. Like, is your voice still with us? Drew Bledsoe, you better be drinking some wine. No. I want the wine glass. I need the full thing. After this.
Oh no! This is the Zoom hack. You just put wine in your coffee cup and nobody knows.
Yeah, it's a Zoom hack for like a corporate America across the board.
Exactly.
Coast to coast. Drew will be with you in just a little bit. Look at this one. Look at the mess you made. I do want to say this.
Can I make it? Yep.
I do want to say this. They are. I went to Iceland, Hamilton, not once, twice, as you know. one time, famously, after an international game in London where NFL media had an absolute conniption about me going to Iceland on the way home. It was unfathomable that I'm going to go to Iceland. I went to Iceland once by myself and once with my best friend in not a search for the Northern Lights, in something that I thought was appointment viewing. Something that I thought you go to Iceland or Denmark or wherever in Finland and you just get to roll up and like somewhere you will see the Northern Lights. They're so elusive. Yeah. You get there, you like in the middle of the night, you're in the middle of nowhere and you have to sign your name on a thing that they will wake you up if they see the Northern Lights. And we get there and I'm like, you know, I'm like, this is like a once in a lifetime trip. And I'm like, what do you mean if? And they're like, well, you know, we haven't seen him in 12 days. And I'm like, what? And that's how they get you. So it's very special to see them. So the fact that like a randomly like Carbondale, Illinois is seeing
you could have just gone to Cincinnati this weekend.
I could have just gone to Cincy and seen that. Unbelievable. I've never seen them. I've gone twice. I'm like,
I know. I was bummed because
as much as I love Iceland, nobody's coming here for the fermented fish, okay? Nobody needs the fermented whale or haggis. We're good. Show me the lights. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I was disappointed. We were supposed to see him this weekend in the Northeast, and it was too cloudy, so didn't get the chance. Yeah.
Iceland is like very mossy. I saw Iceland. I saw lots of Iceland. I love Iceland, even though it's not really commercialized, but I really still love it. I think I've gone 3 times at this point.
Yeah.
What's going on, Hammy?
Not too much. I'm glad you enjoyed.
No, you guys are such jerks. Oh, tell us you're right. Then we can just do it on the show. Let's just do it on the show. Oh,
what?
Tell us.
They asked us if we wanted the Northern Lights wake-up call. So 2 a.m, the phone rings. It's your Northern Lights wake-up call. We opened the drapes on our room, and it was like we were doing some pretty advanced drugs. It was crazy how bright they were. It was really cool.
I hate you. I literally am so. You think I'd be jealous of your career, your beautiful family in back of you, like your. But not, this makes me the most jealous. Back on Up and Adams, our next guest, a Super Bowl champion, 4-time Pro Bowler. Nothing can go wrong for this man right now. One of the founding blocks of that Patriots dynasty, and someone who saw the Northern Lights on some sort of psychedelic.
I can neither confirm nor deny whether we were on psychedelics, but I will tell you that the Northern Lights were making us feel like we were on drugs, whether we were or not.
Drew Bledsoe, what was that really like? Was it like moving? Like people connect to the eclipse in that way? I went to Iceland twice and they eluded me.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was, I don't think it was very, very cool. But we live up in Montana. We've seen the Northern Lights quite a few times, but this show was just like an 11. It was like being in a friggin' IMAX. It was crazy. It was cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it changed my life. That was more the psychedelics that did that.
I love talking to you. It has been so fun to watch you in these interviews, but it's all roast, no football. So I want to get into some football here, but more importantly than any of that, how's business right now? What are sales like at the Bledsoe Family Wines?
Yeah, it's good. We've got an amazing team, from our crew that works in the vineyards all the way through the entire thing. And it's I compare it a lot of times to being a quarterback, where I get to take a lot of credit for this thing. But I have a ton of people that are doing the real work and they're just absolute rock stars. So yeah, I mean, it's, economy's tough and so on. So we maybe have to fight a little bit harder, but our team is absolutely kicking ass.
If Tom Brady was one of your wines, which wine would he be?
I don't know. I mean, he's such a dork these days. It might have to be some sort of non-alcoholic, like fake grape juice wine with avocados or some stupid shit like that. Or I don't know. He'd probably be just like he's from California, so he'd be some like heavily overpriced Napa Cabernet.
God, I love you, Drew. True or false? The alcohol or the drink that Brady was drinking was a fake.
I know that there was a full bottle of tequila sitting, with Kevin and Gronk and Tommy, and it was mostly gone at the end. Now, obviously, we all know that Gronk could probably take it down by himself, But no, I think there was some tequila flowing for him.
Yeah, I don't. Somehow I don't believe that. So the roast happened. You obviously were killing it. It's like now pop culture iconic stuff that you were a part of. You went there. I saw you on Julian's podcast. You kind of set the tone for the players having to go and compete against these comedians. Sitting here like a week out, you're at this party at the Comedy Store, I heard. Everyone's there but Tom Brady. Who was walking around most upset about the jokes that were flung their way?
Probably me. Sam J was really mean to me. She hurt my feelings. No, it was so fun. It was very nerve-wracking, I'll be honest. Especially having to go first and, you got all these people watching and you're trying to do comedy, something that, never done live and in front of people before. So it was pretty nerve-wracking. The funny thing is, I was just talking with some friends yesterday. When like you're at the grocery store and somebody like bumps you or whatever, and then like 2 hours later, you're like, oh, I should have said, this. And man, I've been going through so many bits that I wish I had done. That would have been really fun.
Like what?
I was gonna, when I said that I hated Tom. I could have gone gone up and down the line and said, I hate Tom Brady, like Bert Kreischer hates salad. I hate Tom Brady, like Nikki Glaser hates fully digesting her food.
Oh my God.
I hate Tom Brady, like, actually, this was my favorite one. This is my one that I would have killed to go back. Hold on. Was it? Oh, I hate Tom Brady like Andrew Schultz barber hates him.
Oh my God.
He got that haircut that's awful. But then I was going to turn to Julian. I was going, Julian, have you really looked at this guy? Because you should be terrified. He looks like AI printed Hitler's great grandson.
Oh gosh.
Like all I'm saying, Julian, is if he invites you to go on a train ride, don't go.
Oh my gosh, Drew, you came up with these?
Those are the bits I should have done. Because then maybe Nikki and I could both be getting our flowers as,
I feel like, don't you feel like you're getting your flowers?
I totally am, and I'm totally kidding.
Oh.
I just, the highlight of the night, obviously, and it was so cool, was Nikki Glaser.
Yes.
And the cool thing is, like, at the after party, she is the sweetest, kindest, nicest person. Introduces me to her boyfriend that she told that incredibly awful joke about. And I'm like, dude, sorry. He goes, yeah, no, we've been dating for 10 years. This is what I signed up for.
So funny.
But she absolutely killed, and I think she was already having a successful career, but now she's on to great stardom.
Drew, it sounds like you want a round two.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get invited back. We'll see. I don't know who they're doing next. There was some rumor. I think it was just total fake rumor, but that Tiger Woods was going to go do one. Which number one, I wouldn't be invited to, and number two, man, I don't think he can do that. There's too much material. I mean, he's already been raked over the coals. I
feel like you could come back, Drew. I feel like it.
Who do you think they should roast next?
Jordan.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of material there too.
Peyton Manning, but you don't want to go back. There's, it's got to be not football. Messi, I feel like wouldn't be that funny.
Right.
I would
Jordan,
say that. Serena.
I'd buy tickets to go to Jordan because Barkley and Shaq would be there,
yes.
and I'd pay a lot to just watch those two talk about.
They're doing Jordan now. If you were to, because there's a lot of like, Tom left the party, and Tom, like there was like all these jokes that were, and then you have all the tabloidy stuff about everything. Like if you're talking to Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan, are you saying like if you're sitting with them drinking some Bledsoe wine, are you saying you have to do this? It was incredible, like it was. Or was it, like would Tom do it again, I guess is what I'm asking you.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, the funny thing is like Tom took some abuse, but, it was like Giselle took a lot of abuse and I think Gronk maybe took more jokes than Tom did. So yeah, I don't know. I think he had fun. I don't know. I didn't get to visit with him. We exchanged messages afterwards. Number one message from me was like, dude, I'm so glad that your mother was not there. Because we were all told that Tom's mom was going to be there for the roast, which maybe was strategic to keep, keep the jokes a little more tame, but it didn't work. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you got to be able to laugh at yourself and laugh at your screw ups. So I don't think there's much downside to it, as long as there were only a few rules, right? And one of which was broken. I think everybody knows which one that was. Mm-hmm. It was not supposed to be any craft jokes about the thing, and then obviously you can't go kids, But other than that, everything was on board, and and so. The hardest part to me in deciding whether you're going to do that would be how, what age are your kids, because if they're really young, then they're not going to know anything happened. Right. And if they're grown-ups, then they're like, okay, this is the real world. I've already read all this stuff online. But if they're kind of in that tween, teenage years where maybe you kept them sheltered from some of the stuff that's gone on, that would be pretty hard. You try as hard as you want to, they're going to see it.
Yeah. You and Brady's relationship sort of fascinates me because there's a lot there. What would you say was there like a story or a moment that he either won you over or you got over it or whatever? Like, because a lot of it's warranted, a lot of it's humanity, what was the story of the turning point, I guess, where you're like roasting him and loving him?
There was never a problem directly between the two of us. We always had great respect, but that's just hard when somebody takes your job. That's hard. Okay, I'll tell you a story. This was a cool story, and it was really meaningful to me. It was a number of years ago. We were skiing in Montana, and happened to bump into Tom up on the slopes, and obviously we were skiing different places because he can't ski for shit. But I was talking to him a little bit, and so at the end of the day, I had to take a phone call, and I'm sitting up. I'll try to make this short, but I was sitting up in the middle of the mountain, on this phone call, and I ski down, and I'm getting down to the bottom. There's nobody else left on the mountain. Well, I can see Tom because I could tell which one he was because he was wearing this just terrible Under Armour outfit. And there's somebody that's with him that's obviously female, so I know that's Giselle, but I'd never met her. I'd never met Giselle. And so I came in hot, and I was going to come in and spray Tom. Well, of course, as I come in to spray him, I miss, and I just covered Giselle with snow, and we've never met.
Oh, my God.
And so Tom looks at me like it's go time. Like, you don't mess with my wife. Or at least back then you didn't.
You're on fire.
But I came in hot, and I sprayed Giselle, and Tom looks at me and says, Tom, it's true. And so, hey, sorry, Giselle, nice to meet you. And she leans over and she gives me this great big hug, right? Uh-huh. Like great big hug. And then later that we see them at dinner, and Giselle says to me, she goes, I normally don't give people big hugs when I first meet them, but you don't understand how you're talked about in our house. Which was, just an incredibly cool and very genuine compliment. So there's just, there's always great mutual respect between the two of us. We haven't gotten to hang out. I mean, that was the last time we actually got to hang out, and that was a number of years ago. But we, exchange messages. One of these days we'll get to sit down and drink some wine and chop it up.
I think it's very, very cool. What a great story. And shout out to Giselle for all of that. And
she's an absolute sweetheart, by the way. I only got to spend time with her, right there. I did feel bad. She took a lot of punches, and she wasn't there to defend herself.
Yeah, maybe she should come back and she should do something. We should do something for Giselle. We'll talk to Netflix, you and me, and figure that out. Let's talk a little football here. Drake Maye, 3rd overall to the Patriots. There's the should he, shouldn't he start week 1 conversation already in full effect. The expectations, if you look at the sportsbook stuff, not very high for Drake Maye for the entire team. But sort of like, I would just like to get into maybe your thoughts on him. Like, do you think it would have been better for you to sit at the beginning of your rookie season?
Yeah, it's always a dilemma, right? Because when you're drafted that high, by definition, you're going to a team that's not very good. It's sort of the I guess catch-22, maybe there's the right word, or whatever the right word is. Yeah, cool, woo, drafted really high. Now it means you're going to a bad team, and especially as a quarterback, that's hard. I preferred to play and kind of learn by being under fire. I think you can make a case, for either decision. And I think it's really going to come down to how he looks in training camp. And if he looks like he's ready to go, and then, and I don't know Drake, but then it comes down to, okay, what's his mental makeup? Can he weather the storm of getting knocked around and not having success early without shaking his confidence? Or is it going to be better for him to sit and watch for a little bit? One thing that he has that's very, very significant going for him is Alex Van Pelt. So Alex was, we were together in Buffalo for a few years. And, no disrespect to Zoe, Alex was, from a backup standpoint, he was the one that had the best football mind. And he also has just this incredibly calm demeanor. He played quarterback in the league for a decade, and he's 6 foot and chubby. So obviously he had to win with his brain, otherwise. And so I really think that Alex is one of those special, quarterback whisperer kind of dudes that's really going to help him. So I think that they'll take all factors into account. One, what's our best chance to win right now, but also, what's best for this kid's long-term future and therefore the future of the franchise in making those decisions.
Yeah, it was even there's an article this morning. I'm glad you brought him up because the new OC, so everybody knows, like he's allegedly he's the lead guy. It's going to be like him and Drake Maye hand in hand. And I love that we're getting the Drew Bledsoe cosign of that as being a huge deal.
I did when Alex was at the Bengals and he was at the Browns. Mm-hmm. When he was with the Browns during COVID, they were doing all these Zoom meetings, and he texted me, he goes, dude, I'm running out of material for these Zoom meetings. Would you come on and do, and just sit in my quarterback meeting? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And the one thing I told him, it was Baker Mayfield and a bunch of those guys. And I go, guys, look, you have to listen to this guy because he played a decade as an NFL quarterback, and look at him. It was not because of his physical ability, but he's a great guy and a really brilliant football mind, and he's I believe that he'll find a way even with the limited weapons they have, he'll find a way to get them moving.
How much do you think, earnestly, Tom benefited from sitting behind you? That Giselle story is kind of all I need to hear, but from your perspective and sort of. I mean, it's true. That's, and you look at Mahomes and Alex Smith and you were a mentor to him. And, I just want to know how much.
Yeah, I think it depends on who that mentor is. Favre famously said it wasn't his job to teach Aaron Rodgers. I was an open book. And Tom was a great student. He was in my hip pocket all the time. Asking questions, why'd you go there? Why'd you do this? What was that? And of course I shared that information with him because I did not perceive him as a threat, which I was wrong. I think that he's got Alex, and he's got Jacoby. Jacoby's still there, right? I've not looked. But I think Jacoby's a guy that'll be a great. So, I think Jacoby's a guy that'll be a great mentor, and Jacoby can really play. So, and Zappy's still there. So I mean, they've got some guys. It's not like if Drake May's not on the field, they're just throwing some dude off the street in there. They've got some guys that can play if they want to let him sit and rest for a little bit, and then it's really up to him if he's in that role where he's learning. To do the learning, to really pay attention to what you're seeing, what you're watching, to ask all the questions. And again, I don't know him, but if he's really going to embrace that role, he's got to embrace that role really hard and learn as much as he can.
I love having Brissett there, a guy who can absolutely ball, and somebody who maybe needs to give you a call and drink some wine with you and get some advice on how to be a mentor for this young guy. Drake May's getting comps to you. Have you seen that? People are saying he's more athletic than you are. What do you think of that?
That's a pretty low bar. Come on. I wasn't exactly Lamar Jackson out there running around. I think we were at the Super Bowl together. I've got him by a couple inches. I'm a little taller than he is. So I've got that at least. Yeah, no, obviously I'll be super curious to watch, but I am bullish on his future. I know he's a very talented kid, but more importantly, man, he's got the right guy at the helm. I was extremely excited about the Gerard Mayo hire. We got to spend time. We went with Mr. Kraft to Israel a few years back, and I got to spend a week with Gerard. And man, just love the dude. I know the players love him. And I think he's going to do a heck of a job. So they've got all the right pieces in place, from that standpoint, coaches, quarterback, all those situations. Now they got to put some more of these pieces in place around them. And I heard you talking earlier that, hey, we got to be a little bit patient here. And I think we do have to have some patience, which is obviously one of the historically great attributes of Boston sports fans is their patience. But hey, you're going to be a little patient here. This is not going to happen overnight. But I do think they have great pieces in place.
Drew, so what's next for you? You know Gerard Mayo, are you coming, you helping coach? Like, if he wants you to come talk to young Maye, are you in? Are you flying there? Are you like just settled in? Are you loving life in Montana? And until they pick up the phone and ask you to come roast Tiger Woods, you're good? What's next for Drew Bledsoe?
Yeah, I'd love to, have to be at the end of the summer. I did training camp for all those years, and now summer's my time. But I did go sit in one of the quarterback meetings with Alex when I was out there last, but it was before the draft, and sat there and hung out with the guys a little bit. Yeah, no, I'd love to. If they reach out, I'd love to come out for camp and come out and. But I already gave Alex all of my knowledge, and so he has that secondhand. But if they need it presented in a funnier way, then I'll come out there.
I hope everybody is hearing the great Drew Bledsoe talk about the importance of Alex and this combo with him and Drake Maye. So excited that you're excited. It means a lot, honestly. And I think, their odds to win the division are plus 2,400. Aaron can't have much left, huh? 40 Achilles?
I don't know. Maybe he'll play 4 plays this year. Double it up.
Oh my
God! Buffalo is still going to be good, even though they gave away all of their weapons. The Dolphins are going to be really tough. I think that I think they're going to be pretty special.
You're pretty special. You're on fire still. You were people are catching strays left and right. I want to stay on your good side. So I appreciate you, and I would like to plug your wine. If you want to become a member, you want to enjoy the fantastic wines, go to Bledsoe Family Winery.com and hit us with a little trick. You're on a Zoom call, you're talking to your boss, fill this thing up with some Bledsoe wine and feel good. I saw you talking about being stoned on some Instagram post. I was like, who is this man?
Well, that was secondhand smoke. I would never actually inhale. You know that.
I do know that. I know that about you, Drew.
We were out at Julian's house doing the podcast, and one of his buddies picks up a ball, and next thing you know,
boys.
Julian playing catch, which that's pretty fun. It'll still work. It takes a little bit longer to get warmed up these days, but it still goes.
We got to take a break. I so appreciate you coming on the show. I know you've been doing a lot of media, but I'm glad you're getting the wine uptick. And you got to roast Tiger. You got to roast Jordan. If they were to keep, they got to keep you. You and Nikki should just be. You guys could go do the tour and just roast people from town to town.
I think we'd have a lot of fun. We'd just go travel around and just embarrass whoever needs to be embarrassed.
The great Drew Bledsoe, who sees the Northern Lights when no one else does, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times up there in Montana. You live a great life, Drew. Cheers to you. Up next from ESPN and NBC, Lachina Robinson breaking down all the WNBA storyline. She's back. We'll be right back. Oh, man. Very messy. Okay, let's see. Hammertron. It's so funny. We were deciding, everyone on YouTube, we were deciding, how do we work this Alex news in here? Because, it's not, the biggest national news or whatever, but you connected that he was the guy. this morning.
Yeah, and he went there without us even having to.
I know.
Yeah, we didn't even have to bring it up. He went there on his own.
Well, he's in on it, which I love.
Yeah.
Really in on it.
Yeah.
So
and that really is that's going to be the biggest factor there is Van Pelt going there. We know Rodgers. From what I remember, I think Rodgers had a lot of good things to say about him from their time together in Green Bay.
He was with
Baker in Cleveland. Yeah, so he's got a pretty good track record.
I'm glad I didn't ask him about Burrow because I don't think it's a good comp.
Yeah, it's different because Drew's injuries, the majority of his injuries were later on in his career, whereas Burrow, it's early, but.
Yeah, I don't like the comp of that.
Yeah.
I'm glad we didn't go there. I'm trying to think what we left on. I mean, he's just in roast form. Did you see the video about the stone, like little stoned, little this? I'm like, who in the name of like young dad at the frat barbecue are you? Like,
yeah,
it was really wild. It was very funny. I like that he loves Gerard too. I think he should get back in and be more like super involved with the team.
I know he had some great coaching mentors too.
Parcells.
Between Belichick, Parcells, and Pete Carroll.
Yeah, he's got good ones. Him and Pete Carroll in a room would be a little wild, I think.
Yeah.
We should. That's what I wish we would have asked him a little more on Bill. How awkward that was. I was trying not to listen to his jokes. Lisa, I wish you had just gone full on him.
Yeah.
Because that's why I don't like being in the crowd for any of those things either, because you don't want to be caught laughing at something that's so offensive.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was hiding my face, because I'm like, I don't even know what he's saying, but I know he's like roasting. What was he saying? I know.
He went a lot of different directions.
I know. Yeah. I'm a little nervy about that. All right, we got Lachina here. I'm so excited. Okay. I mean, busy time for Lachina right now. I'm glad we can grab her before it all kicks off. Okay, so grateful that Bledsoe came on. I am so excited and honored to welcome back the incredible Lachina Robinson, who's, I believe, starting her 17th season right now as an award-winning women's basketball analyst. 17 seasons?
Hey, don't remind me. I was like 2 years old when I started covering the W. That's all I have to say. Don't start doing math, because that's when it gets scary.
The math is not mathing. Well, it's a lot of experience and a lot that you can sort of educate me on as we kick off this season. I saw really quickly your Mother's Day post yesterday with all the South Carolina swag from Coach Staley. Is Dawn showing you up on Mother's Day? What's going on here?
Yes, she is. There was nothing I could do on Mother's Day that would outlive what Coach Staley did for my mother. I had posted one day that she needed a South Carolina T-shirt. She received a delivery, and boy, did she have T-shirts. She actually had 2 national championship rings. Kay, do you see those rings on her fingers? She has blankets. She's got more South Carolina things than she could ever need. But the day of the championship game, she had on like a Juicy Couture garnet top. It was the most appropriate fan shirt ever. So I'm just glad that now she can take a picture, post it, and feel good about her South Carolina gear. And Dawn Staley is the best. She
is goated. Juicy Couture throwback. You can't hate on it. She wins.
Yeah, hey, she does win a little bit with the juicy throwback. I was embarrassed.
Okay, so it's finally here. I feel like we've been waiting. Like, when is the WNBA season kicking off? It's tomorrow. Obviously, there was a wild preseason. You'll be on the Countdown pregame show. Let's go. Fever Sun and Mercury Aces. Those games will follow. What are your feelings going into this season with more eyes on the league maybe than ever?
Just so excited, Kay. Quite honestly, the women of this league deserve it. They deserve it now, but they also deserved it 27 years ago. Like, the WNBA is in their 28th season, and finally people are waking up. But it's for good reason. We've got tremendous storylines across the board. Absolutely the rookie class that's coming in, headlined by Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and the eyes that they're bringing to the WNBA. We had our most watched draft ever. The women's tournament, the viewership was through the roof. We've already seen crazy attendance in the WNBA preseason game. Like, this rookie class is probably the most anticipated we've ever seen in the history of this league. Camila Cardoso, I mean, the names go on and on. But the thing I think we don't talk about enough with this rookie class is the impact of NIL. When you think about how amplified their messages and their images were in college, we're now hearing them as household names. And you have to really pinpoint some of the brand partnerships that they've been able to be a part of in NIL. Take it or leave it. Some people love it, some people don't. But for women's sports, it's really been a big thing. So we start with the rookie class. And then the Las Vegas Aces, they won back-to-back championships. Can they do it again and make it 3 in a row? The last team that did that was the Houston Comets, and that was way back in the first 4 years of the WNBA. So great storylines, free agency moves. Seattle's looking great with the addition of Nneka Ogwumike and Skylar Diggins-Smith. Phoenix has got some new faces. It just so many storylines, Kay.
Yeah, and I love that you're talking about that. The NIL point is really strong, and that has really put it over the edge and put it in front of our faces and on our feeds. And just social media has blown everything up as well, something that didn't exist 20 or so years ago. I'm seeing the Delta charter thing. That's a brand partnership I'm super stoked about, that I'm sure you are. And everything's going in a great direction. I want to ask you, speaking of brands, Asia Wilson finally gets her own Nike shoe, about damn time. She also nabbed a multi-year endorsement deal with Gatorade. Do you think brands are finally starting to recognize, or like how much are you seeing that growth? And what would you like to see? I think I want to know, like, what's the next thing that you want to see grow? The Delta charter thing, check. We're getting marketability, check. What's the next thing that needs to move forward?
Yeah, well, what brands are finally realizing is investing in women's sports is smart business. It's not like, oh, we're just going to help the women out or give them a cut. They're realizing that you can actually make money because people are interested. They're going to buy gear. They're going to turn up for viewership. They're going to sit in seats. And so from that standpoint, I think the figure is less than 5% of all sports sponsorship goes to women's sports. I'm sure the needle has been moved a little there. I want to see more, Kay. I'm not happy. Yes, we have expanded. We've got Canada coming in 2026, the Bay in 2025. That's attractive for the media rights deal that's coming up. I want that deal to be amazing. I want the WNBA to be more accessible, right? So all these things are adding up to good momentum, good business decisions. And the W's hot right now. But yeah, I would like to see women's sponsorship deals continue to go up. Because right now, the top level players are really benefiting. The 1 or 2 top players on every team are getting those brand deals. The top of the rookie class, but I believe that there's more there for these women. There's a new CBA coming up. I hope in that CBA there's more opportunity for the salary to move. They've already got the charter deal, so that's good for them from a holistic standpoint in this deal. But I still want to see more money into the WNBA.
Let's go.
Yeah, the media rights deal is definitely going to help, and more brands waking up and making decisions to invest in women.
It's coming. Nothing helps. I can't tell. Like, will a dynasty help the WNBA, or will it, or can it hurt it? Because I'm looking at the Aces, right? They're back-to-back champs. They're the overwhelming favorites to three-peat, right? You got Becky Hammond, you got Wilson, Plum, Gray, you got newcomers coming. But then I'm looking like the Houston Comets, I believe. They won the league's first 4 championships in a row. That was the late 90s. Is there a team that can disrupt what the Aces have going on? Who is that team, and what's better for the sport?
That's a great question. Everyone loves a dynasty, because every season you come in, can you knock off the Minnesota Lynx? They won 4, but they weren't consecutively. It was a LA Sparks that snuck in and got a championship. There was a Phoenix Mercury that snuck in and got one. It's hard to win 4 in a row. But what I would say is I'm okay with it because, number one, Vegas has raised the bar for every other team in this league. Some of the free agency moves you see happening, everyone is trying to keep up with Vegas, and not even just what they have on the court, but the investment that Mark Davis has made in this team that makes them one of the most attractive franchises to play for. I mean, in free agency, they have their own practice facility. Mark Davis has said, we want a charter. I got the money. I'll pay for it now. And so Vegas is raising the bar for other teams in the league in a number of ways, and everyone is playing catch up. But what I'll say is I still want it to be competitive, right? Last year's final, I was disappointed. New York is on the clock because they lost in Game 4 at home, and the Aces were missing 2 of their starters. That is not the way we want to go out. We want this to be competitive where it's 5-game series in both the semifinals and the finals. So that's what we're looking for this year. Will it be the young Indiana Fever with back-to-back #1 picks? Can they get into the playoff and make some noise? Will this Seattle team come together in time? What does Brittany Griner and Diana Taurasi have left in the tank? Who is going to challenge Vegas?
Lachina, you tell me. Is it who is it?
So, New York's going to have to show me something.
Okay.
And I didn't like the way they looked in the preseason. So they may be the favorite for most. You're probably going to see them pick to finish second, but I'm not buying it. They got to get back in my good graces. I'm looking at the Seattle Storm. I know that that's a team that probably is not on most people's radar because they do have so many new pieces coming together. And it's like, whoa, you're going to put that kind of pressure on them. But they've got Jewel Lloyd, who was the league's leading scorer last year. Skylar Diggins-Smith is back in the league with something to prove, chip on her shoulder, never won a championship. You add to that Neko Gumake and Ezzy Magbagor, that's going to be a formidable front line. And they've got Noelle Quinn, who I think is an outstanding coach. Now, do they have the depth that Vegas has? No. But defensively, I think they can be really tough. And they're just a team that's hungry and it's got great leadership.
Oh,
so
I love this.
That's a little bit of a dark horse.
No, Lachina, I am now supporting Seattle. I love everything you just said. I like an underdog fever. Yeah. That's fine. Do your thing. But you're saying they're hungry is all I needed. Well coached. I like that. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna track Seattle here. I do want to ask about the Fever, just because obviously they brought in 13,000 fans to their preseason home debut. That's over 3 times more than their average for a home game last year. What is your prediction, give me a bold prediction for Caitlin Clark? #1 overall pick. Are we talking rookie records? What are we talking?
Yeah. I think just by the pure nature of her game, where she's a stat sheet stuffer, any game she can walk away with the triple-double. I'm not thinking she's going to be averaging 30 points a game. I just don't think that's going to be possible or realistic for her in her rookie season. There's going to be an adjustment, the physicality, the speed, the athleticism. We've already seen it in the preseason. But flirting with a triple-double on a nightly basis, she can do that, whether that's 15 points a game, maybe 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 assists. That's still a very solid line for Caitlin Clark. Now, if I was going to go bold, I would say that she could absolutely challenge for the scoring record this year. If she does get her threes going, she could be one of the leading scorers in the league when it's all said and done. I don't know how efficiently that will be done, but it's not out of the question with her offensive skill set. If I'm going, hey, this could happen, she could set the scoring record for this year, lead the league, the WNBA scoring.
Lachina Robbins with some bold predictions. If you guys are feeling spicy, there it is. I do want to take a short break here, but I want to, we have our YouTube breaks. I want to ask you, let's take a break on the TV side, and we'll be right back to wrap up the show. But I do want to ask you about Candace Parker, because we gotta give it up for your girl. So Candace, hanging it up after 16 seasons, 3 championships, 2 gold medals. She's the only player to ever win MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same season. Drafted in 2008. When you started, your coverage, with what you've witnessed sort of with her, maybe just I would love to know from your words, how monumental her impact was on this sport.
Okay, you can't even put it into words. What Candace Parker not only achieved, but the way she transformed the WNBA was just something that we may never see again. She's an icon, first of all, on the court, in the way that she changed the way we play the game. At 6'4", she could play on the inside and post up. She could also block shots, but she could step out and shoot the 3. She was an excellent point forward in the fast break, could get the ball out with the assists. So now you have players like me at 6'4" that are trying to play on the perimeter. And that wasn't the case back when I played basketball. So she gave a new vision of how that could happen, because she was not the first to do it, but she was the best to do it in the women's game, in my opinion. And then look at everything she did off the court. From being an athlete mom and raising Layla right before our eyes in an extraordinary way. She showed women that you could do both and have that balance. She put Adidas on the map when everyone else was looking in other directions, and now she's the president of Adidas Women's Basketball. But really, there was just so much pressure, so many eyes on Candace Parker after she came out of high school as a dunking sensation. And she carried the expectations for women's basketball on her back. she grew the popularity of the game exponentially because in addition to everything else I named, she's charismatic. She's funny. She's a great broadcaster. She has the best baby hair you have ever seen in your life. I could do a whole tutorial on it. But you can't say enough about what she accomplished and how she really helped to grow. I mean, the women's game wouldn't be where it is right now without Candace Parker. And even doing that as a Black woman was a tremendous feat. So tip of the cap to Candace.
I mean, more than a tip of a cap. That was an incredible, incredibly earnest and honest and eloquent way to say that, you know, Candace Parker is goated. Like, she is, you cannot write the history of the WNBA without her.
No, she is her. She is absolutely goated, and what a fantastic career.
Lachina, good luck this long season ahead for you. Enjoy everything and every moment and all the momentum that's being gained. And more money, please, for the WNBA. Let's go.
We want to see the money. Show us the money, okay?
You're the absolute best. ESPN's so lucky to have you guys. Check it out, WNBA Countdown, ESPN2, 7 p.m. Eastern, right before tip-off. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lachina. Amazing, amazing. How much time do we have left? We have a minute 55. Want to do it? Get over here. All right, back on the show. Big thanks to Lachina Robinson for being just such a stud. What are you doing? Go over here, buddy. Get over here. Okay. We got Jordan. You walked in front of that shot with Lachina. What do you make of that?
Well, I'm trying to,
Here's Jordan. Now the lights are going off. People are having full-on conversations in the background. I don't know what's happening. I truly don't. Love having you here.
Thank you.
This is Jordan. Hey, Stephen. Hey, everybody. Oh, wow, we got... Okay, please look at this. There's flashlights. What's happening over here? We wanted to get you slotted. Can we do this tomorrow, you think?
Yeah, I guess.
I want to do a couple today?
Yeah,
basically, you want to clown on my old ladiness, I hear.
Yes.
What would you like?
So
people are talking out loud. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah,
Why is everyone talking?
I think that there's a couple trends I wanted to go over with you.
Okay, in or out?
K or yay.
Okay, let's
do
this.
K as in K. So
we have a minute.
We got Jim Harbaugh talking, press conferences right now. So he's kind of peaking early. It's like we have all these press conference sounds. He's talking about having dreams about football.
Do we have sound?
Yeah, there should be sound playing.
3:34 in the morning, woke up, staring straight at the ceiling and said to myself, it's not just another day, it's today. And maybe that's just another way of saying attack this day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. But it was a great day.
So are we?
I'm in. I said this. I said, look out, Mike McDaniel. Nobody cares about Dan Campbell's antics anymore, about your kneecap. Why is he wearing that black and white hat and then the blue and yellow? Why is that doesn't even match? The hat's too cool for you, Jim. Take it off. Be the old man dad in the RV that I want you to be. We'll have more with. We're going to start tomorrow's show with Jordan. We're starting tomorrow's show with Jordan.
So many topics to go over. I'm excited to run it through with you.
I don't want to know what they are, but we'll be back. Thank you. Sorry.